We've experienced a miracle of God. Several months ago, a friend of mine called and said, I want you to look at a piece of property over in West Virginia. I said, I'm a preacher, I don't have money for property. He said, I want you to see it. And so I came over, we drove around this place on an all-terrain vehicle, but when we got up to the rim, God spoke to me very clearly. I can say without question, it was the voice of God. I don't want to say it was audible, but it was real. He said, this property belongs to Paul Weaver. And it took me back. But I sat on it and came home and waited 2 weeks, and then I called him. And I began to tell Paul what happened, and he said, I got cold chills. Gladys and I are looking for property. I'll come down next week. And so they came down, got to where we were when the Lord spoke to me, and both of them got out of the all-terrain vehicle, and Paul said, this is everything I've ever dreamed of. Gladys said, I'm not easily impressed, but I want you to know I'm impressed. We spent the day looking around and had a picnic down at the bottom here, and as we were finishing up, he points back up to the top of the rim and said, that's where I'm gonna put the house. I said, we need to commit that to the Lord, and we drove back up and knelt down and committed this place to the Lord. And then he stood up and said, Steve, I don't want this property, I just want access to it. Why don't I write a check, let the ministry buy it, and we'll build a retreat to help these wounded veterans and bring pastors and their wives here and encourage them, business leaders to speak into their lives. And so that's what this place is going to be. It's paid for, debt-free, 524 acres, it's adjacent to the National Forest, hiking trails, 4 trout ponds that are stocked. We're next to the south branch of the Potomac River, which is one of the best trout streams on the East Coast. And it is just absolutely beautiful. The presence of God is all over this place. And I want you to be a part of it. We want to put 12 units here where we can bring in pastors and their wives, veterans who are dealing with suicide issues and healing them from war. We're going to call it an inn. Why? Because of the Good Samaritan's Inn. We want this to be a place of healing and restoration where people are encouraged, built in their faith, and come to know Christ. And we want you to help us. Now, the property is debt-free. We need your help to build at least 12 units where we can bring a group in and spend a week with them investing in their lives. I could not be more excited about this. You know, the Bible says the heavens declare the glory of God, the firmament shows his handiwork. You can come here, you can hike, you can do mountain biking, you can do fishing. It's just absolutely beautiful. And we want everyone to be able to enjoy it. And so this place is going to be a place of restoration, a place of healing, a place where people come to know Christ and are discipled and built in their faith. I want you to pray. I believe God's going to speak to a lot of people, and they're going to invest in what we're about. We need at least $1 million to get this thing where it needs to be. And that's a lot of money, I know that. But we've already seen God miraculously provide for it, and you can be a part of the rest of the dream.